What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blasphemous Reviews. I'm Jake.
I'm KJ.
And who knows?
Fair enough. I'll take it.
I don't know.
Hold it between your legs, tie it up.
No.
You don't know that?
I don't
Oh,
think,
man.
I don't think I
Because
do.
the music down. No, that's Corn, bro. Twisted Transistor.
Okay. Bro, what are you doing?
It's that voice that he makes in that song. It just makes me talk that way in that song, I guess.
What's
when I'm
his
singing
name
the
again?
song.
Corey something?
Oh, I don't know. And when you say Corey, I think of Corey
Corey
Taylor,
Taylor?
From Slipknot, and that's Slipknot.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't know what Homeboy's name is.
And Corn?
Yeah, I don't listen to Korn that much, but I did. You know what's crazy is I listened to them today. Actually,
Yeah.
I listened to Korn today. Yes, I listened to Twisted Transistor and Freak on a Leash because that skit scat part, I love it so much. Boom, bop, dum, dum, dap, dum, boom, go. You know, it's so fucking good. It
Gets you
is
hyped.
like. It gets me so fucking hyped. And so I decided I'm going to listen to that song on my 30-minute walk today. That's going to be one of said songs on my walk.
Nice.
I usually listen to jazz. I usually listen to
like
jazz.
what kind of jazz though?
I don't really know too much. I know like I listen to Miles Davis. That's like the first one that comes on the shuffle playlist. But other than that, it just plays randomly, and I just listen to it. Sometimes it tells a story. If you really get entranced into the jazz music, it tells a fucking story. And
Yeah,
I love the piano of jazz. I love it's beautiful. It's like okay. So when you listen to somebody play piano, you can like hear when they're playing. Like if it's an intense song, you can hear it in the key play or the keys playing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. But like when you hear it just played so delicately, like you're touching a woman, or you're like caressing a woman, and like they're playing the keys the same way, you can feel that. You genuinely feel that shit,
Yeah.
and I didn't think I'd get into jazz as much as I did, but I just love it, and now I have something to talk to my grandparents about.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, jazz is cool, and it's a basis for a lot of the music that I listen to, because a lot of stuff I listen to is like improvisational, right? Improvisational.
Jazz was very improv.
Yeah, and that that was one of the very first
Improv.
that's one of the very first genres of music to ever really dive into the improvisation. And so a lot of what I listen to is just based off of the buildings of early jazz improvisation, and like you can hear that in influence in some bands. I mean, Grateful Dead has jazz influence in their improvisation.
Oh, for sure.
Papadosio, just the
Jurassic Park.
Yep. Linkin Park.
Just
I don't know about Linkin Park, but
I feel like they all have a smidget of influence. I don't know. That's just me. It all comes from somewhere. Blues, jazz to rock to.
I saw an interesting video
rap.
yesterday on YouTube. I don't know why it was suggested to me, but it was. It was the guy who mastered "Happy" by Pharrell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was him taking showing like what the original mix was, because you have the audio engineers that do the mixes for the recording, and then the recording goes to mastering, right? And so he does all the mastering, and it was him taking the raw mix from the sound engineer, and then doing his magic with the mastering to show the difference between what the raw mix was and then what the final product was. It was really cool because the raw mix was so good, and the sound clarity was amazing. You could hear every single instrument, like, I don't know, like, very sharply. You know what I mean? It's like every frequency of everything, the voices, the instruments were coming through super clear. But all the levels were pretty, I don't want to say monotone, but pretty level, right? There's some dynamics going on with the mix, but for the most part, nothing stands out too much or more than something else. Basically, what he does is like EQ on the track, and like different analog EQs and stuff like that, just to bring certain parts of it out. And it's amazing what the master is able to do.
Yeah, sound engineers are kind of fucking amazing at what they do.
Oh, absolutely. It's an art. Like, the way he's talking about it, like, essentially he's talking about taking this canvas, and he, like, has it, he has his huge soundboard that he's, like, working off of with the different, equipment.
It's all his paints. It's just a little knob, just a little
thing. Yeah.
You do what you want, you know.
Yeah, it's
paint
like
it.
Bob Ross of sound.
But no, that's how I was actually going to describe it in a sense. I was going to say, like, okay, the sound engineer, like, when he's given something to master, to make a final product, if you will, it's like, hey, I gave him a beautiful painting, but, like, hey, can you dress it up for me? Can you add a little bit of your touch to it? You know? Yeah. And that's what turns into, like, a final product of the music. Like, music doesn't, I don't think people think about how long it takes to make music, let alone a song. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure songs have been made in like 30 minutes time, but like mastering them and then making a final product onto a CD or a vinyl or whatever, that takes fucking time. Yeah. Same with a music video, they have to sing their chorus hundreds of fucking times, you know what I mean? And they do it in different angles, and it's just, there's a lot of shit to filming and mastering. Just anything in sound and film is very meticulous, and it's very time consuming.
Yep. For sure. It's cool.
That's why I ain't got the patience for it. I went to school for that shit, and I ain't got the patience for it. That's why I do podcasting. I got the podcast body as well.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I heard it in I watched the Mighty Ducks. They had a new show come out on Disney Plus. It's called like the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and it has Emilio Estevez, which is amazing.
And the original cast and shit.
No, not yet. It's still first episode, but I am sure some of the original cast is going to show up. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't happen. So it was pretty fucking good, the first start of it, but I heard this kid. He said, like, he wasn't a hockey player, but he wanted to play. And he was like, I have more of a podcast body. And it just made me fucking laugh. And I was like, you know what? I got that body, too.
Like, I relate.
All right. I relate to this 10-year-old kid. So, great show, though. Great show. Right. Are you on Disney Plus? Do you have that?
No.
Bro.
Nope.
So, hold on. So you haven't fucked with the Mandalorian at all?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
I literally have so many people in my life that are like, the Mandalorian. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I do you ever lie just because like you're tired of hearing people's bullshit about it and say, yeah, it's such a great show, and you just like feed off of it?
I don't think so. I've definitely done that before
before.
with something else, but
Mm-hmm.
not with the Mandalorian.
Okay, good. You shouldn't. It's so amazing though.
There's no way I could be able to bullshit my way through that one.
No, not at all. There's too much. There's too much that goes on. But
Start making up names, and I'm just like, yeah,
yeah, sure, bruh. No, it's actually really cool. One of my favorite actors, Timothy Olyphant, or as people know him, Timothy Oliphant, or Oliphant, or Oliphants, however his last name is pronounced. Who is also the lead on Justified, which is an amazing show. And if you haven't watched it, go fucking watch it.
And I heard about this other show called Deadwood. You ever seen that?
Yes. I have watched a few episodes of it. I haven't gotten far into it. It's on HBO. It's a good watch, though, what I've seen.
I haven't watched it, but my buddy at work was telling me about it, so.
Yeah. I watch Westerns, so it really, I'm about that show. I just haven't made my time to it.
Yep.
So. I just watched recently, though. I don't know what I'm dragging off of. Did I go on to something beforehand?
No.
No. Okay. I was watching News of the World. Have you heard of that movie? Who gives a fucker?
No. News of the World. No.
Yeah, it has.
Can I
Tom
take
Hanks
a stab
in it.
at what this is?
Please.
Is it about some guy who tells the news?
So
I'm good, aren't I?
You're so good. No, so like that's a small portion compared to but basically Tom Hanks he goes from city to city and tells the news of different cities in the world. That's basically his job. He was an army captain at one point and he's retired, and now he just tells the news on, like, he reads the newspaper to people that want to listen. You know, that don't have the time to read, if you will, which was a weird selling point, but I get it during that time.
What do you mean, like, is he, like, broadcasting this on the radio? Like, what?
No. So he's basically just, horse and buggy kind of guy, just traveling from city to city, and all he does is he has a few newspapers.
And, like,
yeah, and he just reads. But he does it in a storytelling fashion. He tells the news in a very intense manner, if you will. As if he was reading a book.
What's the time frame? Like, the
I think it was
setting of this.
I think it tells the year, but I feel like it's either one of these two. It was between 1868 or 1878. So, still Western era. Western era. Almost the end of the Western era. But,
yeah.
What do you call it? He ends up just doing his daily job, and then as he's going to the next city, he ends up finding this girl that speaks a native tongue, and he doesn't understand her and nothing like that. But he takes her with her. He has really no choice in the matter. He didn't even want her. So
what do you mean he takes her?
So basically, he was he caught up with, like, on the road. He caught up with a horse and buggy just destroyed and blood everywhere. And it was a black man, and he was, I guess, in a wrong town, and he was lynched. And that's what Tom Hanks walks upon. He sees the girl, he chases after her, says he's not going to hurt her, because all he wants to do is take her somewhere because he knows she's in the middle of fucking nowhere. He wants to get her somewhere safe. So
I'm going to chase you.
Right, well, he was just trying to help her. So he stops her, and he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. At first, she's screaming, bit him, shit like that, which would make sense. And he tries to just, like, show that he's safe because they don't understand each other. And he does, and she ends up coming along with him for a second, stays with him. It becomes difficult at first, but then, like, they obviously progress and care about one another. But they go through a bunch of shit. I don't want to give the story away, but it's a really good fucking story. But basically, the end goal, the premise of the movie is he finds the girl, and he has to take her to her family. So, in between all that is obviously, good, juicy, detailed story. So, it's a very good watch. Juicy. But, like, it's a very good watch. I enjoyed it very much. But I'm also a Tom Hanks fucking fan. I love that dude's movies. So, Take my
Sure.
word for it or don't. But it's a good movie. Oh, it's also directed by Paul Greengrass, if that helps anything.
Yes. It is very familiar.
I
Name.
know it is for you. I know it is for you.
I can't remember why.
The Bourne Identity.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck
That's
yeah,
why.
dude. The fucking Bourne series is lit.
Well,
It's so lit.
think about him as a director and Tom Hanks as an actor, and just think about the fucking magic that happens.
Okay.
So, great fucking movie. But yeah, I really, yeah. But I'm a sucker for westerns, man. I'm a sucker for anything western. Western was just like a time I would have fucking loved to live in, man. I'm so serious about that shit. I would have been really cool sitting at a campfire eating fucking pork and beans and making sure I had myself a 6-shooter on my side all the time. Who the fuck wouldn't?
Yeah.
Like, that shit sounds awesome, dude. And living in the night sky.
I saw this. This was another suggested video on YouTube for me, but it's this guy who like goes through different parts of California and like discovers like abandoned mines and stuff like that. And God, it was so cool watching those videos because like I love that shit. I love adventure and like
I do too.
exploring and like I want to do more. I want to do more of that shit and do that with our platform somehow. Too.
Well, that's what I want. Well, that's what I want to figure out. Because, like, with you saying that, I don't want to damper the mood. Because I want to do that in my life as well. That's all I want to do is adventure. You know what I mean? You don't know where that could take us either in the podcast world or in the what do you call it, the vlog world. That could end up making us big as shit. Who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? Sky's the limit. But with that being said, like, that's where I try to think about life all the time. And I'm not even doing it myself, and I'm not proud of myself. But I want to do things that I want to do. We were not put on this earth to, like, fucking work ourselves to death. It's the mentality we grew up with our entire life because that's what we saw. And that's what we think we know. I'd rather be like a fucking, what's it called? A van dweller. You know what I mean? Just to explore life.
Hashtag
and try
van
to,
life.
Yeah, hashtag van life. I just, because, like, I don't want to sit here and be 85 fucking years old, you know what I mean? Struggling to, like, just walk every day and be like, okay, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. And, like, I just don't want to be that fucking person.
Right.
At all. And it would suck to be that. And I'm already halfway fucking there. You know what I mean? I'm 30 fucking years old. So 30 to 60. But at least in 60, you still have pep in your step. So that's a plus side.
Hopefully, yeah.
You know?
You could be like my dad. He's 72 and got motherfucking pep in his step. I'll tell you that. He would whoop my ass.
He'd whoop my ass.
He's got that, I don't know, that old.
But he's also got that dad mentality too. Like, I'm not gonna not sit there and be like, "Fuck you, Steve." You know what I mean?
No,
yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not a problem. He's still gonna tell me to do something. Yes, sir. There ain't gonna be no problems.
It's funny.
But yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't want to be at that place in my life. You know what I mean? 40 years down the road or something like that. I don't want to be 70 years old counting my chickens and be super sad about shit. So,
I mean, I want some chickens when I'm 70.
well, I mean, that's cool and everything. I mean, I didn't literally mean having chickens, but I mean, it'd still be a cool fucking thing. I don't know, man. That's why we're doing this podcast. I want to do things in my life that make sense to me. I want this podcast to take off one day. You know, I want this to actually get us to where we have some kind of fun, where we can do things that we've always dreamed of doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've always dreamed of I saw Into the Blue when I was like fucking 14 years old or something. Do you remember that movie? Paul Walker and Jessica Alba. Yeah. It's a great fucking movie, man. I'd watch it to this day. It probably holds up. Anyways, they said it like the end, like there's over $75 million worth of treasure that's undiscovered in the ocean. Or something, you know, some fucking large ass number, I don't remember, something along those lines. And that little end credit stuck with me. I was like, why in the fuck am I not living in the Caribbean eating fucking chili and fucking diving in the ocean. What the fuck is wrong with me? I would love to do that shit. I would love to
Yeah.
live in Alaska. I would love to do 800 fucking things. I don't want to sit here and do that. Like, my grandma is my biggest, like, influence of that shit. She moved from Ohio to Arizona to California, now in South Carolina. And then not only that, mind you, she's lived in all those states. She's also visited, like, fucking South Africa. She's visited Ireland. She's visited London. She's been fucking everywhere, man, and probably more fucking places. I want to be that person, man. I don't want to fucking sit here and not see shit in my life. I don't want to see just the United States.
Yeah.
You feel me? Fuck
Yeah.
that shit.
There's so much here though too. That's what's crazy is how um diverse the natural world is here. Like,
What, in the U.S.?
yeah.
No, it is. It's extremely diverse. You can just, I mean, okay.
I want
a
to start
state-
here
Mhm.
and then finish other places in the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm 30 fucking years old. Let me fucking live in a different country. You know, just let me. I don't know, and it's not let me. It's just I want that mindset where I can just fucking go, man. Where nothing's holding me back, and nothing should hold me back. You know, it's just fucking whether or not I want to do it bad enough.
I
You
think
know,
a big part of that is just and maybe for me, but like confidence in yourself.
I
Like,
think so.
confidence that you're gonna be able to make it doing something other than what you're doing now.
You have to find that drive, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, like, I think if you talk to any van dweller, they'll probably tell you that was the best decision they ever made in their life. They'd probably also give you a lot of complaints about living in a fucking van, because, I mean, it probably sucks. But they would probably also tell you that it's one of the best things that they ever chose to do in their life. And I'd probably hear more positives than a negative coming out of their mouths. And with that being said, it just, I don't know, man. The confidence level of that would, like you said, it's probably the hardest thing, but it's probably the easiest thing to overcome once you do it. You know,
Right.
like I feel,
Yeah.
I just want to do it. I don't know what the fuck it is. I just want to do it because all I think about right now, like when we talk about how money basically, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast or if we were talking about this earlier, but how money is basically the thing that you have to strive for in your life. It's literally the thing you have to work for until you're dead.
Yeah, it's replaced basic survival with money. So like psychologically as humans there's always an innate need to like strive for survival. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. And
Now though survival, at least here in the United States for us, for the most part, isn't nearly a question as isn't am I going to survive? Now it's how. And the survival like end goal has turned into, well, money is how. You know?
mhm.
So it's like almost I feel like it's like somewhat chemically ingrained into us now that we have to strive for money to survive
100%. And that's what I
instead
was
of like
trying.
food or shelter or safety.
Well,
Like,
right, and that's what I was basically getting at is like the dream that I have in my life is to run a food truck. That's all my goal is now, you know, and now it's just taking the steps to do it. I have taken step 1 and like maybe step 2, but now step 3, 4, and 5 need to come into play. But with that being said, a part of step 3, 4, and 5 is obviously money, you know, and it sucks that I have to sit here and stress about that so much just to live my dream. And it's like, I want to find the easiest way possible to live my life. I want to find the most humble way possible to live my life. Because we have one fucking, like, life. We have one. And I want to live it happily. I don't want to live it stressed. I don't
Yep.
want to live at 14 divorces in. I don't want, you know what I mean? I don't want to live that goofy ass bullshit. I want to make people happy, strive to be happy, and explore the world. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
That's how I feel.
This
And
is
that's
how
an
I feel.
and it's an everyday thing. So it's not like it just comes and goes, just like life. You know what I mean? I just don't want to be that person again that thinks about it now, thinks really hard, trails off, thinks about it again, thinks about it again, but then wakes up one day and is doing that same shit and they're 65 years old. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's a struggle, and like for me, balancing balancing everything is seems to have become the hard part for me, is understanding that
mm,
money isn't everything, but if you want to do something in the modern age, you gotta have some money.
you
And
do, you
the
do.
problem is for me, I feel mentally stuck in acquiring money traditionally,
Hmm.
right? By through a job.
Right,
And but the thing is, a lot of these people that are doing all this cool shit don't make money traditionally by a job. They do it through other means, like multiple avenues of income, not just a singular job that you work, right?
right.
Um, and I think for me, transitioning from understanding that or thinking that you can have just a job and do do what you want is it's kind of a crapshoot, right? Like, and
Hmm.
transitioning from that mindset to a mindset of, well, I can do what I want and make the money off of that if I try, and
Right.
not just try, but put effort into it.
That's the biggest thing is just it's the effort and it's the outcome of what it is. It's just it's also patience. We've in 2021 we've lost patience. That's why we only have the span for fucking 30-second or a minute videos. You know, it's just it's who we are, and it sucks because some people, you know, are going to live their life where they struggle because their patience is, you know, it's just so quick, or
Yeah.
they lose it so quickly that they're probably not going to be able to succeed. You know, does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. Like, um, I know a couple people who kind of struggle in the workplace because they're not able to focus, and so that diminishes their ability to like complete tasks fully
Mm-hmm.
and understand that task. Like a lot of times you can do stuff, but you can do stuff, but um, you won't necessarily grasp the like concept of what you're doing. You just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's gonna be even worse in the long run as these people get older into like more into adulthood. Like, how do you function through life with like not really understanding anything that you do because you don't have the attention span to like focus long enough to like develop that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or to reach an end goal. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit there and play the card as if I don't have that same problem.
no,
I
yeah, for
do.
sure.
But I'm also going to say though that I do have some patience. You know what I mean? I've for example, like this is just a small example. You work at a job long enough, you become a manager. I've been a manager at places. You know, if you work hard enough and long enough and you show that you're just there and you show up, you know what I mean? You end up becoming a manager. So The way I look at it, it is. And the way I look at it personally is if you decide that you're really good at being a manager, you can move up from there. And like that shit's quicker than you think. It's just taking it's dealing with the hustle and the bullshit in the process. It's a day-to-day struggle. You know what I mean? It's not like every day is going to be a fucking good day. And unfortunately, we live in a world where nobody's paid properly, and that's why everybody's bitter. People are unhappy because they're overworked, they're overstressed. You know,
Yeah.
They don't have time for themselves nor their families, and they have a work family. I mean, that is so fucking weird. That is so fucking weird to me. I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong. You're there. You guys help each other pull through a night's work, and everybody gives love, and it's great, and you guys spend time together. You end up spending so much time, you care about each other because you're working so much together. But the reason I say it's so fucking weird is because you do work so goddamn long, and you're working so fucking hard, and you're spending more time at fucking work, that you decided you had to develop a work family.
Well, here's the thing. I think it ties into like the whole rise and grind mindset where so now you work really hard at your job, but that's not enough. It needs
Right.
now this job needs to take time out of your free time outside of the work to become valid. And this is especially big in the restaurant industry where your friends become your coworkers become your friends. You spend time with them outside of work. You talk about work, right? And I think that's a negative thing because
You're
now,
right.
unless it's something you're very passionate about, you know what I mean? Like if you work for a company that you love the company.
Or you both are in the same mindset. Right. You both are in the same mindset. You're both in the same drive of that company and of that business.
Right.
If you're at a fucking McDonald's and you're clocking out talking about McDonald's, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. Like if this isn't your passion, then why are you also spending all your time outside of work essentially talking about that work or hanging out with that work? Like it seeps into your everyday life outside of just your life at work to the point where it consumes everything you do in or outside of work.
Right.
I
mean,
that's the way that I feel that I don't know. I feel that's a way to like trap people into the positions they're in.
right.
If you're doing a job you're not passionate about.
I just like it's a dip. I remember at one point, and it depends on the era of when it was for me. It's either I would be getting off of work every single night, and I would be drinking a 40, smoking a bowl, and probably hitting a black and mild, or smoking a black and mild, I should say. Or I was drinking a 40, smoking a bowl, and smoking a Marlboro Red, or a Camel Turkish Gold, or something along those lines. So I just remembered at one point I was like, I don't want to keep sitting here having crazy nights where like I'm stressed when I'm passionate about what I do, but I'm stressed at the environment I'm in because I know that nothing will fucking change. I don't want to be in this mindset the rest of my life. I don't want to do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth my happiness.
Yeah.
So.
I love the restaurant industry. I love working in restaurants.
I do too.
Right? But here's my thing. I think the entire thing needs an overhaul. Like because I'm just gonna throw random numbers out, but I would say probably 90% of restaurants, the people working there are way more stressed out than they need to be, right?
Every one of them.
They are
Depending on your company. I'm sure. I feel like Chick-fil-A, they're just walking in.
That's why I'm saying like 10%. You can go somewhere and it be not. I don't want to say easy, but it goes
coordinated.
That's the thing. That's what's
mise en place, motherfucker.
That's what's different about a restaurant job versus anything else. You can go work a construction job and it be hard as fuck, but it's not hard as fuck because it's a clusterfuck. It's hard as fuck because it's just physically demanding.
Tough job. Right, it's a tough job.
Where at a restaurant job, it's like it's hard as fuck because you're playing a different mental game with every single different employee there. You're working like you're working all sorts of different types of positions. You know, one minute you could be, you know, whatever, you're fucking just cooking. Next you're like, well, now I'm like, I have to like wash some dishes because our dishwasher didn't show up, or like, you know, I gotta bust some tables because our servers suck ass and are lazy as fuck. Now I'm doing, you know what I mean? And there's just, I think it's more stressful than most jobs out there, and it's not because it's like physically harder or anything. It's definitely mentally harder, and just like it's a clusterfuck, dude. Every like I said, maybe not every, but 90% of restaurant jobs are an absolute fucking disaster.
They really are. And
like
it sucks because I want to be in that kitchen where it's not, and it's as professional as fuck, and it's where like okay, let's put it this way: we don't have a lot of this in our city, or at least I don't know about them personally. And if we do, I've never been to them. But I want to be at that restaurant that's only open from 4 to 9 p.m. Okay? Does that make sense? I want to cook at those restaurants because you got to be there at 2 to prep the day's food. And then dinner, or it all starts at 4 o'clock. You know, you start getting tables in. And then 9 o'clock, you're done cooking for the night. Nobody's fucking around. There ain't no extra orders of bullshit. The kitchen's fucking closed. Okay? And then you clean up and you're out by like 10:30. You know what I'm saying? That kind of kitchen is what I want to work in.
Yeah.
Because it's probably more of a professional environment. You're probably not making a giant fucking menu. You're probably making maybe 10 menu items, maybe 15, 20, I don't know, at most. And that's your focus. That means you will perfect that fucking food every single goddamn time. That's the kind of restaurant that would be great to work at. Yeah. That people care about you and your well-being. And you guys know that you're fucking crazy because you're chefs, for one. Because all chefs are fucking crazy. For two, you all know that you want to work in a coordinated fucking kitchen. You know what I mean? You know what you want. You know what you're here for. You ain't going to miss a day of work. And if you do, you're fucking gone. That's the kind of fucking kitchen. You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. I guess that's shitty to say. Life happens. You know what I mean? Flat tire, car stops, whatever. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. You know, people don't get fired for that kind of shit. It's the point of being a repetitive fucking call off person.
Yeah,
but it's
and it, I don't know, it lends itself to having that sort of environment just because of the way things operate.
The vibe, the energy. That's what you need. When you fucking go in at 2 o'clock, you know that the fucking music's going to be bumping because you're going to be doing prep work with all your people. Your people are there. They're ready to work. They're happy as shit because they're in the kitchen with you. Y'all trust each other. Y'all know shit's going to be a vibe tonight. Y'all move properly. You move swiftly. And you do it professionally. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that kind of vibe, that drive, that's going to make you only want to work harder and faster. Every time.
Right.
And it ain't going to feel like work.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a vibe, man. Because I had that one time. It was a feeling. I was working at Chipotle. And it was probably the closest vibe I got to this shit. But also, don't get me wrong, Chipotle was a clusterfuck as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, there was just one day, everybody online was in a good ass mood. And we had a line to the fucking door, you know, as normal Chipotle bullshit. But everybody just kept pushing through. Callbacks were great for the meat. Everything was going 100. and then at that shit, it was a breeze. But when
Right.
you have somebody that has an attitude, or somebody that ain't got the vibe, and it's just like, for example, you have the start of the prep line, burrito or bowl, and you just have somebody throw down the shit slowly as fuck type shit. Okay, you're gonna waste valuable seconds because you're in a butt sore mood. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Seconds matter in the restaurant business. They do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Fuck.
Fuck. Yeah, it needs an overhaul for sure.
It does.
I don't know what could potentially fix it. Honestly, because I don't know.
I don't either.
I feel like it's too far gone.
It is, but that's why you start your own food truck or you
Exactly.
start your own restaurant, and you do it your way. The
You
way
let
that
the shitty ones die a fiery death, because there's absolutely no sense in fixing those places, because you can't and you won't.
Right, 100%.
Honestly, I don't think you can fix a shitty restaurant. It'll just always be a shitty restaurant.
If it's always, I think the one way that it can always change, and I feel, is different management. 100%. The lead manager that's fucking everything up, that's letting the shit skate by, just letting people do the same bullshit over and over again and still have a job. Fuck that person. If they were fired or out of that position, it'd be a different fucking tune. Yeah. But that's me. But transitioning from crazy fucking food, I wanted to talk about this again because it is going to be on my mind every week, and I will explain why. So, I am into comics very heavy now. It is a part of my life. It is very serious. Here's the reason.
Very serious.
It is very serious. And I did not understand why it was serious until I did a little bit more digging, and I have so much more to learn.
Dicking?
So digging. Did I say dicking? Did I say like a dicking? Like a giving a good dicking? Okay, no, I meant digging. I didn't digging. Okay, I meant digging. So anyways.
Got it. All right.
I did a bit digging, and I started getting more into my comics. The first ones I ever bought was like 4 or 5 years ago. So, comic book story, everybody. So 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to buy a couple comics. I didn't know nothing about them. I just decided I wanted to try to get into it. I obviously didn't have a passion then. I just let them go to waste. But it was a couple that were called Blade, or the issue was called "It Takes One to Kill One," and it was a Blade series. And there's 12 issues to this series. Well, anyways, I bought, I think it was issue 4 or 5, and I think 9, maybe, or 4 or 5 and something else. Anyways, I had issues 4 and 5. So I go and dig one day, and I didn't understand how to search for comics. And the guy was helping me. He was like, yeah, so all of our Blade is right here, and it has it where it's alphabetical, like little slots where it'll tell you, like, I guess the one that has the most comics there. But after you dig through those, there will be another comic of another name. And they won't have a little folder slip. And that's why I couldn't find anything. Well, he was like, well, listen, any Blade that we're going to have here, they're going to be right here. And I asked this dipshit if he had a couple of these issues. And when he showed me where Blade was, well, obviously a light bulb switched on how I can search for comics now. Because I had no idea. Nobody was helping me when I went to the comic book world. So he finds these comic books for me, and it's exactly the ones I needed, and it was a couple issues. I was super excited because, boom, I learned how to do fucking search for comic books, and 2, I found a couple more. So I went right to my other place, which is called Queen City Comics, and they had a couple more issues of the Blade series, because obviously I knew how to look for them now. Now, as I was looking, I decided to get into a couple more. Another story, me and my girlfriend went. We're sitting there looking around and shit, and she sees this one she really likes, just the cover art of it. She's like, oh, this is pretty cool. I said, oh, okay, it is pretty cool. So the next time I go without her, because she was just not having it anymore, and the time that I took in the comic book store, which I get, you know what I mean? Like, I was taking way too long, but I don't care. I love that shit. So anyways, I go and I pick up that comic, and I was like, oh man, this looks really fucking cool. Come to find out, it is really fucking cool. I read the synopsis of the comic, and it's called Serial. The issue is. And it's about this girl that's like 10 years old. She's in a 10-year-old body, but she's aged 50 years. She doesn't age at all. So she's 50 years old, and she's a serial killer. I don't know nothing among that other than that story. Okay? And I bought issue 2 because apparently they don't make a lot of these issues because I could not find issue 1. And they already did an issue 1, and then they did a second release of issue 1. So I was not going to find this issue anywhere. So if I wanted to read this comic book, they basically made this little gist or this little quote, if you will. A comic book is only worth how much you want it. You know what I mean? So I go on eBay and I wanted issue 1 really bad. So I bought the second printing of issue 1. And it was $10, which wasn't bad. But it's crazy that it already went up to $10 a second printing when it was a $4 comic.
Really?
Yeah. So now I have issue 1 and 2, but the whole point I'm getting of this whole comic thing and how it's very serious is when comics come out, they come out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. They used to come out on Wednesdays, but they come out every Tuesday and every Wednesday. I think DC is Tuesday and everything else is Wednesday. And it's because of like who prints the comics. Well, anyways, every week now, because of the comics that I'm addicted to, I have to go to the comic book store every fucking Wednesday for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a long time.
Well, most of them are coming out with new issues, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean. So like they come out once a month, give or take. Sometimes it's like a month and a half, but it's like once a month. So for example, I'm reading The Joker, I'm reading Orphan and the Five Beasts, I'm reading Berserker, I'm reading Serial, and what else am I reading? I'm reading Noctera, I believe. Yeah. And so there's a website where it will actually have all your comics in there, and you can add them, let them know whether or not you read them, etc., things like that. And they have something called a pull list. Have you ever heard of that?
I saw on Facebook the post you made.
Okay, yeah.
And the
guy that was talking about it. So you read the post? Yeah.
It's really cool.
So, it is. So like I started
keep everything organized.
Oh, it's so great. And I started reading on it, and like now I have all my shit organized, and I have my pull list, which basically means I can print out, or I can get a little email notification of what I need, or like going to my local comic book store, I can tell them like, hey, I need a pull list. I have this, and this coming out on this month. You know, they'll know the dates, but you know, you just let them know you need a pull list. And so they will guarantee hold you a copy of said comic book. So, starting, I think, next week, which is April 7th, I have Noctera coming out, which is issue 2. That's a great fucking story. If you want to get into comics, get Noctera. But I don't know how hard it would be to get issue 1 right now. It's very hard because once they sell out, they sell out. That's why I fucking love it, man. It's right. Like you gotta take your ass there to the comic book store to get your shit. And so there's also there's also something called variant copies. There's variant and there's foil copies. The foil copy is basically where it's like an aluminum foil and it just has the comic book name of it. A variant copy is where it's different art than the original art that was printed. I have a couple variants and I had no idea. I'm learning about this shit as I go along.
That's cool.
But it's so fucking cool, man. I love it.
It's like how there's different variant Pokemon cards.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So it's the best hobby that I'm into. It's pretty expensive, I won't lie. It's going to cost me basically like $30 a month, $35 a month to get all my issues. And that's not me.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all, actually. And it's not me getting my other issues too. Like I have old issues that I'm collecting too. Like for example, I have Sin City I'm collecting. I have Spawn I'm collecting, and the old Blade series. So I'm looking for all issues of both Spawn and the other one I was just talking about. I can't even think. I just lost my memory. Jesus.
Did you say Blade
like 3 seconds. Blade, Sin City. I'm sorry,
Yep.
that's what it was. So Sin City, goodness, fucking stoner's mind, man. Sin City and Blade. So and Spawn. So Spawn and Blade or Spawn and Sin City, I need the rest of the issues for. Blade, I only need like 3 issues for. So
Gotcha.
I'm just digging, and like you just have to dig at your local comic book stores. And I did not expect, even through a pandemic, comic book stores are still booming. Like I hear the guys talk, the comic book shop talk, I guess you'd say, and they're like, man, I sell out of books like immediately, or I sold out of this in like 20 minutes after I opened the door. Like, so it's fucking crazy how fast that shit is and how nerds are, dude.
Yeah,
So,
nerds don't quit, bro.
no, and I ain't quitting.
Ain't no
I'm
quitting.
a fuck. Nah, so it's fun, dude. It's actually the highlight of my life right now. You know, you got to find the little things that you find joy in,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
mine. So
For sure, for sure.
you should look into it, man.
Man, I maybe in the near future.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fun, dude.
Like I think I was telling you before we started, like
Life is just not gonna.
I'm having a hard time balancing everything that I want to do anyway. And
Comic book-
not just even want to do, but need to do.
Right.
So
Comic books would be the last thing on your mind right
not
now.
that I don't want to, and I'm not interested. And
Right.
I have a buddy at work who tries to get me into stuff all the time, and like it's all stuff I would be into if I had more time to do it. Like, you know, play certain games, or like go play D&D, or like watch a certain show or movie or something. Like,
Can I be honest with you? The only way that you can do that in your life, I think, honestly, and this is for everybody. This isn't just for Jake here. Whether it be D&D, a board game night, or whatever, life is hard, and it's always going to be where you do have to survive with money until you find that happiness, or you find that $1 million job where you never work again a day in your life type shit. But anyways, if you're going to be the average Joe, then working a 9 to 5 grind, and you want some time where you can release like that, you have to find time, whether it be once a month, twice a month, you know, and the cutoff's there, obviously, because life is difficult. You know, if you can find once a month with your friends or twice a month with your friends to have a board game night, D&D night, movie night, plus board games, whatever it might be, you got to find and make that time. Because, like, otherwise you're going to lose your fucking sanity a little bit. You have to find that time. And I want to find friends that can find that time too, because like I would love to get in D&D and understand it and learn it just so I can have friends again. And that sounds sad, but as a 30-year-old fucking man, it's hard to just be friends with people. It's hard to just gain friends anymore. You know?
Right.
And I'm sure any 30-year-old fucking understands that. Whether you're working now, you know, if you're working at a restaurant, probably a different story. You got friends through that, but that's only because you're working with them. You know how it used to be when you were a kid.
Your coworkers become your friends type shit.
Right.
You're an adult and don't have time or can't function. And
it's like
make friends. So
right, and it's like when you have a vibe too. It's like, for example, Jake. Okay, people aren't gonna know this, obviously, you know, unless you know him. When we go out on the kayak, it's probably one of my favorite things in the world to do. I'm sure it is for you too. When we go out on the kayak, he's a very friendly fucking person. He's partying, obviously, but people don't know that, so shh. You know, and we're just having a great time. And if somebody else is vibing and we're having a good time, and like they'll hear our Grateful Dead playing, or they'll hear something we're playing, and then like, you know, Jake will be like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, Dad," yeah. And
yeah, dude. Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Sad,
Yeah,
Dad.
shit, yeah, dude.
But like he would be all about it, and he would be very friendly towards those people, and maybe we would make a friend and maybe we wouldn't, and we would remember that at the end of the day because it was a highlight. And it's good to have those, and you never know what those outcomes can bring, whether it be future friends or having that mentality is basically what I'm getting at. When you have Jake's mentality, that's awesome to live through life through, whether you're 30, 40, or 50, because you only remember that mentality of being that friendly and that personable, either A, when you're drunk as a grown ass adult, or B, when you're a child. Because
Right.
when you're a child and you're on the playground shooting ball, oh, what's up, Timmy? Oh, not much. What's your name? My name's John. You want to shoot some hoops? Hell yeah. You like video games? Yeah, me too. Okay. And then
Well, all right. So, in the right environments, it's actually very easy, at least for me, um, to just do that exact thing. Like,
oh wow, you just burped and just try to go with it, and you just wanted to continue talking. You nasty bitch.
tasted like bananas.
I bet it did. I bet it did. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
And in the right environments, it's I feel like it's a lot easier. So like for me, being out on the river in a kayak, that's just like natural habitat shit. Like
It's simplicity.
you get me out on a hiking trail, camping. You get me to a music festival. You get me, wherever, anything like in that that has that essence. Oh, I'm immediately just like, oh, what's up? Who are you? What's up?
Right, how you doing? You want to smoke some weed? Oh, you're not about weed? That's cool. You want some shrooms? Oh, you're not about that either? That's cool. You just want to vibe? All right, we can vibe together.
I got some water.
Right, I got some H2O.
I like water.
You want some of that? I like water.
I
All
know
right,
you
we're
like
gonna like water together.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot easier in environments like that because it's just
I think you know people's vibe, and I think that's the whole point of going back
Yeah.
onto what you were talking about with like work and those kind of vibes. It's the same thing. It's like you want that vibe that you have at a concert, the same vibe at a restaurant when you go to work. Does that make sense?
well, I would love to see the world have that vibe all the time. And
all the time.
That's why I think the like that scene, like music festivals and like concert culture and like camping and hiking and things like that. I feel like those are very important today because they're helping people see that like, oh, life can be, happy all the time
Right.
if we choose
If we choose to.
to do so. And then you get out into the real world. Back, I don't want to say that. Like, I hate that term honestly either because the real
What's
world.
that?
Because the real world. Because like everything's the real world, no matter what it is. Like, there is no not real and real world.
I think a better term of putting that, it's like when you go on vacation. And when some people do say, "Hey, going back to the real world," once vacation ends, I would say going back to reality. You know what I
I don't
mean?
even want to say that because then that imposes the idea that what you were doing isn't based
Reality?
on reality.
I don't know.
So I want to.
But in this world, it is. In this world, it is though. You know.
But is it, or is it we choose to perceive it that way and make it that way?
Well, then I would say
That's
we
what I
perceive
mean,
it and
it's
make
like-
it that way, because you got to think when you're sitting there working like a dog your whole life, and then you can literally go on vacation and kick back your feet. It's gonna feel like reality. It's not gonna feel real. It's not gonna feel, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh
Right.
shit, the stresses are not on my shoulders right now. But then it's like you get that chip right back on your shoulder once you get clocked back into work.
Swear immediately too, like
It just does.
it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Let's be real. Like going on
Mm-hmm.
vacation doesn't help shit because you go on vacation, you enjoy your time, you come back and you're like, wow, this.
I'm
fucking
miserable
blows.
again. Right, I'm miserable again.
And
God damn it.
there's like so many people
li-
are like, oh, this person needs a vacation. Like, no, they need a new life. They need a new job. Like,
Right.
they don't need a vacation to like escape for a short period and then come back to it. They need to be able to feel the same way when they escape to their escape as they do in their everyday life.
100%, dude.
And that's why I was saying like the restaurant industry is so hard because like that's one of the worst for that. Like no matter what, you come back, it's just shit. Just because you had a slight change of mind for a week or two, like, didn't change how the fucking restaurant runs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
You were coming back to the same bullshit.
yeah.
And I'm not gonna say all restaurants. Unfortunately, that's the aspect
90%.
I have. Right. That's the unfortunate part that the aspect Jake is gonna have and I'm gonna have because that's all we've worked in. That's the only kind of environment we've ever worked in is a stressful cooking environment. I've never worked in a happy environment. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's happy when you're done. Okay, hold on.
I worked in a
I
decent...
rephrase. I do too. I worked at Mellow Mushroom, and that was fucking amazing. That was my favorite fucking place.
Yeah.
So, I was busy as fuck every night. Almost. I think Mondays were like the slowest days for us. But we were busy almost every single night, and we would all clean together. We would all hang out together. You know, do some other things together. But, you know, I don't want to get nobody in trouble. But anyways, we would have such a great fucking time. And it was the best experience of my life. And it was a job I truly loved. Unfortunately, I had to walk away from it because I was dealing with some shit. But it was just one of the best fucking jobs I ever had. So, I don't know. The restaurant business can be great if the people that are around you are great. And if the environment is properly
organized.
Mise en place.
Yeah.
So, that's what it is.
Word.
Fucking A. Well, man, I think that's all we have time for today.
Cool. What's your fun fact, man?
What's my fun fact? Yeah, because I actually skipped last week's.
Did you?
I did, unfortunately. It was sad. But
I was in a weird headspace last week and the week before anyway, so like I don't know. I didn't remember.
It's all good. But yeah, it is squirrels are behind most power outages in the US.
Fucking squirrels. It's like there's an episode of Rick and Morty where Rick like is like giving Morty his wish, and like Morty like wants to be able to like hear. I think he wants to be able to hear either animals or specifically the squirrels. And so Morty started listening to the squirrels talk. The squirrels were like talking about how they were like controlling different parts of the world, like
oh wow,
like how like secretly they're like, you know, running things like in different countries, and like and they see that Morty is listening to them, and they're like, is that human hearing us? And he starts like walking away, and the squirrels start following him like, hey human, like do you hear us? And like I don't know, it's like he says God, I suck at telling this shit, but
you do, it's all right, dude.
The squirrels essentially like realize that he knows that the squirrels run the world, and they like come to like kill him and shit. Like, God, my brain.
It's all right, dude. I was sold for a little bit, and then like you fucking died off so badly. So,
God damn. Okay.
But you know
We'll
what?
come
I
back
do.
to that.
We will, but I do want to say one last thing before we decide to sign off. I was gonna wait until the 25th episode, and I'm kind of just going with it because I just want to fucking shout it from the rooftops right now. It's come to our attention that Blasphemous Reviews was a baby for us, and we raised it from a baby, I think, and we're going to be a toddler. So, with that being said, we're evolving, and we decided that the 25th episode of Blasphemous Reviews will be our last. Now, we are not going anywhere.
Not last, but...
Well, not last... Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase. It will not be the last Blasphemous Review. It's just a Blasphemous Review will be involved in an episode. It will just be an episode merely in our new podcast.
Yeah, essentially we're going to be shifting what we do to something different, and Blasphemous Reviews will basically become a segment of our podcast.
Now, what we're going to do is a lot of the fuck ups, or what we're not going to do is a lot of the fuck ups that we did through these last 22 or 23 episodes. But we've learned from everything that we've done, and we are trying to grow with it. And that's what we're trying to evolve with you guys. That's why we're saying the podcast. We're not jumping into any exclusions. We have no idea what the fuck the name's going to be. I'm just being honest with you. But we are going to evolve into something a hell of a lot different, a little bit more workhorse. You will see behind our new podcast. You will see a lot of different shit on our social media. It will be a little bit. No, I'm sorry. It will be a lot of bit different. A lot of bit different. But you will still have us every week. So.
And it won't, like what we are and talk about isn't going to change. But
no.
A
little bit more professional tone, if you will, a professional manner. And with that being said, is we're noting our faults from the episodes that we've done, and we're not creating them again. So that's basically what you're going to be getting. You're going to get the same episodes, the same hilarity, the same funny coming at you, packing a punch, just a little bit more structured and a hell of a lot, I don't know, hell of a lot something. I don't know how much more I can tell you, honestly, right now. But it's in the works. So. But yes, episode 25 will be our last, but we will not be gone. We will be there next week, right in your ears, and we will probably give you the release or the podcast name and everything like that on the 25th episode. So, look forward to hearing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right, guys. Well, have a good one. Much love, and we'll see you next week.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.